And welcome back to the Beer Battered Sports Podcast, the podcast created by sports fans for sports fans, because we believe that we are the most qualified people to talk about our favorite teams. I'm your co host, Isaac,
And I'm your co-host, Noam.
and Calvin is MIA at the moment. He will join us once he gets on, and he will be unavailable to give his takes because he is late to the 100th episode. Surprise! It's the 100th episode of the Beer Battered Sports Podcast. I just got
Woohoo!
Yeah, we made it 100 episodes. To be completely honest, you ready for something completely honest, Gnome? I
Let's hear
100%
it.
thought I 100% thought that we would not make it to 100 episodes because at some point someone was going to say something so offensive about another person's favorite team that we would all quit and never come back.
And the night's still young.
Yeah, it probably was. I'm seeing a lot of comments. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and of course, we would not be this podcast without the original founder and creator, Kylie Sullenberger. Kylie, thank you for the love. Sorry we couldn't get you on the show tonight. I know you're working right now, and yeah, I know.
A
We,
real
we
coward will come on, or someone who wasn't a coward will come on here, regardless of being. Isaac's come on while he's at work before.
yeah,
Just saying.
yeah, I really would. I really would. Calvin is about to join us right now. He apologizes for being late. It's all good. It's all good. We'll just riff a bit while we wait for him. But yeah, I just want to say to begin with, this podcast started because one day while at work, me and Kylie were talking, and Kylie said, "Why can't we just start a sports podcast?" And I said, "Well, that would probably be a great idea. Let's do it. Why not?" Something to that effect. And some of you may remember the original name of this podcast, the Sportsgasm Podcast, which was deemed too a little too it wasn't deemed PC,
Stupid.
it wasn't deemed PC enough originally, but I think Beer Battered Sports has made a great impact. And of course, I cannot forget to thank that probably our biggest supporters out there, the Fired Up Sports Network. Without them and their support, Mike, Dom, all the guys over at Fired Up Sports, and all the other podcasts, without their support, we would not be where we are today. They are a fantastic network. They give us a ton of creative freedom. They basically say, do what you got to do. They are wonderful partners. So if you guys are watching, thank you guys for all the support as always. We would not be where we would be without Fire Up Sports Network. I can't think of a better podcast network to be a part of.
You forget the original history of this podcast. This is not Kylie's first podcast. Little known fact: Kylie actually originated from a different podcast called The Sports Facts, which ran for around one season with many, many more technical issues than you've had to deal with. This may be your 100th episode. It's about my 10th, but happy to be here all the same. Happy to keep the show going, as it were.
Yeah, no, you've done a great job stepping in to fill Kylie's shoes out just left. And by the way, Kylie, I know you're
Let's be
watching.
real. It's better now that I'm here instead of her, anyways.
Hey, I'm not gonna. All I'm gonna say is
If
this.
if I'm wrong, where is she? Why isn't she here to prove me wrong? I guess there's just nothing to be said about it. But
Listen, all I'm gonna say is this: Bell Smashers Pod, Kylie's new podcast on the Phillies. Hey, they are rocking it right now.
yeah, they're doing
There's
great.
Yeah, with their second season starting, it helps that the Phillies haven't really done anything in the off season, so they've got plenty to talk about, which is mainly just yelling, "Why aren't we doing anything?" And we'll get into that later. But anyway, Calvin's about to jump on, so in the meantime, Kylie says she will dead ass hop on right now.
Then why
Okay.
haven't you? Why haven't
Why
you?
haven't you? Kylie, if you want
Yeah,
me to send you the link to
I wish
jump
you would
on,
hop on right now.
yeah, because we're actually going to do something with baseball today. It's fun. We're not going to like go full on it, but I'm just going to introduce the concept, but we'll get there. We're just going to riff a little bit more before Calvin gets on here. Before we actually get really into the show. Oh, here he is. There he is. There is our other
Or
esteemed
zero.
co-host.
Hey man,
40, you get one less take tonight because you were late. But other than that,
Listen.
welcome to the 100th episode.
So -1
I
take.
won't lie to you guys. It was getting very spooky. I was taking a very, very, very crazy great nap. My alarm never went off. I just so happened to wake up at the right time.
That's
Here I am.
crazy. Wow.
What? Fantastic. Well, I'm going to do some. I'm going to really quickly send a link to something real quick because we cannot have the 100th episode without our original founder. If I hope this is the right email. I really hope it is the right email because I'm going to try and get Kylie on the show because it's the 100th episode. We've got to.
Oh my god.
But anyway, we got a lot to talk about today. We've got plenty to talk about. We're going
We'll
to talk
hop
about.
on as well.
I saw that.
Sorry.
Once again, if you guys are enjoying today's show, hit that like button. Leave some comments. Let us know how you're feeling. We're going to get right into the action. We got plenty to talk about. We're going to be talking about the conference championship games, obviously. We're going to be talking about the NBA's crazy scoring over the past weekend, asking, is it good for the sport that we're seeing like all these scoring records being broken? We're going to briefly cover the ongoing situation in the NHL and the severe cost of their inaction concerning what's been going on with the allegations over there. But first and foremost, we're going to do something pretty interesting. So Major League Baseball is going to be the focus point of our show for much of this coming year, mainly because, baseball has been like our big sport. But we do have one problem, is that one of our podcast members doesn't really watch a lot of baseball. I wonder who that is.
Yeah, I don't know. 40, get on it, bro. Come on.
Hey,
Well,
man. They know I watch baseball.
Yeah,
oh, yeah, they do. So I ask you this, folks. Gnome does not follow baseball, but he has said he is going to try and get into baseball because it's part of the show. So I'm going to ask the question to the audience, to everyone listening and everyone who's going to listen to this episode when it goes up. Which team is he going to pick? Don't say the Orioles. That's an easy cop-out, and they are really good. So don't say the Orioles. Hometown team is an easy cop-out. There are 32 teams to select, Gnome. You're going to pick one. We're going to make sure of it. Did I say 32 teams? There's 30 teams. But I want to ask, who should Gnome support?
Come on over. We'll take you over here, New York Mets.
Mets?
No.
Please. You know what?
Hey, no,
I don't know. What? State your case. State your case, 40.
Okay.
Nah.
Why the Mets?
Don't come join us, man. We're going through a rebuild right now. We won't be good until probably 2026.
My boy here's got a good idea. Why don't we put all the
case
teams
stated.
on a wheel and spin it?
I'm down for that.
I mean, that's probably the easiest thing to do.
May I suggest that you join the wonderful world of the New York Yankees? We're the most successful franchise in all of baseball. 27 world championships. We have incredible players, a great atmosphere. Our fan base is surprisingly not as toxic as you would think it is. I mean,
yes, it is.
Well, Yankees Twitter has some like problematic people on it, but for the most part, it's
everyone's Twitter has problematic people on it.
They really do. I don't know. I think there's another team we could also ask a question of. I don't know. What do you think, Kylie?
Whoa, look who it is.
Sports.
Wow,
what do you think?
What is she doing here?
What do you think? No,
what the fuck is that shit?
Which fan do you think Gnome should join?
What's up, y'all?
What's going on?
What was the question?
The question is, which team should Gnome pick to follow for his first season of being a baseball fan?
I swear we've seen someone else record from that same background before. I can't.
That's weird.
I wasn't. I said the same green screen Isaac was using.
I wonder
last week or some shit. Like,
are you borrowing my green screen, Kylie?
Yeah.
Why are you borrowing that?
Like
yeah, dude. I grabbed a screen. I grabbed a screenshot from last week's episode.
Yeah. It's like we all work at the same place for another day.
Oh yeah. Congrats on the new job, by the way. No, congrats.
Thank you.
So who do you think, Kylie? I know you're very biased, but if Gnome has to pick a team, and I'm going to throw a loophole here. He can't pick one of our teams. So no Phillies for you.
Oh, that's fine. First of all, before I say that, shout out to 100. Shout out to 100.
Yeah.
Shout out Fired Up Sports. But I just want to say the Orioles just sold their team. So go with the Orioles.
They just sold their team?
Yep. The Angelos sold. So go with the Orioles.
Is that like recent, or did I miss that?
Yeah. You missed it.
Oh, I missed it.
Still here, but disappearing for a second.
Nah, no problem, man.
Uh-oh.
And before I go, 41 thing.
What's that?
Fuck the Mets.
Oh.
Oh, we missed you, Kylie.
Always.
Before you go, Kylie, real quick, I just have one question, Kylie. The Phillies have done almost nothing this offseason.
Don't remind me.
Yeah, so I know we're a bit out from spring training. Concerned? Question mark?
This was the expectation going into the offseason, so I'm not surprised. Disappointed, but not surprised.
Okay. Fair enough.
My expectations were low, and they still missed it, but
Just that one fan holding up the
we'll see
sign.
what
Our
happens.
expectations were low, but holy shit.
We're low, but yeah.
Why did you trade him? That
Yeah.
one. Yeah. Sorry about that, by the way. I saw that. That was rough.
I actually was thinking about being a Phillies fan since we don't have a Phillies fan anymore on the podcast. And the Fired Up Sports Network, they probably need someone on here to represent their interests even a little bit.
Bro, they're trash, bro. Don't do that to yourself.
All right. I guess.
Hey, man.
They're trash. They're trash. Y'all haven't done anything since 1986.
I just told him don't be a
Y'all
Mets
are the
fan.
equivalent of the Dallas Cowboys. I do not want to hear it from you.
They are.
40. I love you, but your Mets are trash.
I think actually you guys would be the equivalent to the Dallas Cowboys because you guys do great in the regular season and fold in the playoffs. So
now the Phillies are very much like the Eagles. The Phillies are very much just the Eagles in that they're consistently pretty good and their fan base is impassioned, but they don't win a lot of championships.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Hey, Isaac. Isaac.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing, Kylie. I'm saying that
the Yankees last one in 2009. You can't talk either.
And you last one in 2008.
We had a 10-year playoff drought and still made it back to the World Series before you.
Aren't you both fans of? Aren't you both isn't both your second favorite team the Yankees? I swear, fake fans, man. I swear to God. I'm down for the wheel fan. I'm down for the wheel plan. I like this. Some of the fans are suggesting that we spin a wheel. Yeah, this Noah Fleming character is a fan of spinning the wheel to determine my MLB team. I'm down for that. I'm down for that idea. But my one condition is that we only spin it once and I get a single team and not like a fake backup team. That's my one condition.
I don't even have a backup team. I just like other teams.
Yeah.
I'm not down for that kind of bullshit.
This isn't like football where I like two teams.
Only one.
It's not like football where I like two teams. The baseball, it's Yankees or
there can be only one.
Yeah, I'll root for the Phillies sometimes because I think I like the Phillies, but like the Yankees are my ride or die. Like I'm not gonna like just abandon my fandom and jump onto another team.
Oh, okay, interesting take from you. All right, yeah.
No two baseball teams.
That's fine. I don't have two football teams.
Now football you could choose two. I think
you can't. No, you can't. You cannot choose two.
Hey, Mike.
I don't want to hear one person saying, "Oh yeah, we did so good."
Love you, Mike.
In 1 week, and the next week, once their team's eliminated, being like, "Oh yeah, we did so good. We're in the Super Bowl."
We'll get to that. I know that annoys you, and we'll get to that. But listen, there's a reason. I'm allowed to have two favorite teams.
I gotta go, but y'all continue doing what you're doing. Shout out Mike and Fired Up Sports. I love.
We lost.
We lost for a second.
Yeah.
That's our technical issue of the night.
I was gonna say, I gotta go. Now. Shout out 200. Love you, Mike. Love you, Fired Up Sports. Keep doing what you're doing.
Who's your staff?
Don't worry about it.
Who's your server?
Don't worry about it.
Okay. Damn. All right. I'm curious now. I gotta check the schedule.
Well, anyway, Mike, Fired Up Sports, jumping in real quick. What's up, guys? Congrats on 100. Thank you, Mike, and thank you for all the support for the Fired Up Sports Network. But yeah, we will see which team you will select, Gnome. Well, I think I like the spin the wheel thing, so I think we'll make an episode of that before 100th episode. That is right. It is the 100th episode.
Wow.
Anyway, let's really quickly talk about. Yeah, I think this is the most people we've ever seen. Let's quickly go to the NHL real quick. Now, we're going to be very careful with this one because this is a heavy topic. If you watched last week's episode, 40 and I briefly talked about this. If you need a quick refresher, 5 current NHL players have currently been arrested by Canadian police in response to allegations of sexual assault at the 2018 World Hockey Juniors. These include some pretty big names, including the Phillies' Carter Hart, and the hang on, let me get the full list. But one of them is the Flyers' Carter Hart. I don't know why I said Phillies. I'm getting my Philadelphia teams mixed up. Now, these are some pretty serious allegations. So again, we're not gonna like speculate and shit because that's something that some sports media does that, and we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna speculate about this. All I'm gonna say is that these are some pretty serious allegations. And if you missed I actually wanted to get your opinion, Noam, because last week we talked. Calvin and I talked about how the NHL kind of has a culture problem in that stories like this pop up in this series way more than they do in other sporting organizations, mainly due to what I described as a boys club mentality of the NHL. That's kind of what we're dealing with here. I know you don't watch hockey, so you probably can't give the best.
You would tell. I'm not familiar whether or not they have the most criminal allegations in that sport as opposed to others.
It's not criminal allegations. It's they have there have been several high profile like sexual abuse allegations in the NHL and cases over the last couple of years. The most notable one I think was the Chicago Blackhawks. One of their assistant coaches had been like sexually assaulting players the entire time. Something
That's
like
crazy.
That. Yeah, it's like a serious problem. So the players, I have to list out the players who have been arrested and are being investigated are Philadelphia Flyers Carter Hart, New Jersey Devils player Michael McLeod, Calgary Flames player Dylan Dubé. They've all been charged. Cal Foote of the New Jersey Devils has also been given allegations, as has Ottawa Senators player Alex Formenton. Now, I briefly want to bring up, you may have noticed in the little banner scrolling along the bottom, the reason I'm bringing up mental health is because the Calgary Flames, when this first came out, the Calgary Flames released a pretty scathing social media post in which they said that Dylan Dubé was taking a break due to mental health. It was very clearly not a mental health break. Calgary, what the hell? That's all I'm going to say. Like it's not a good look for the Flames. It's a similar situation with the NHL on the day that the allegations came out, posting like, "Hey guys, we're going to expand to Utah." That's not news, bro. But anyway, we just needed to cover that real quick. If you are watching the NHL, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Their All-Star break is coming up. And I think if the NHL would really like the focus to be on the All-Star break, but it is not because of these allegations. It's some pretty serious shit.
Do you think the NHL has like a legit problem with this? As if this is like a common thing? Like they need to get their shit under wraps quick, or this is a bad look? Kind of like the Washington Football Organization for the last 20 years up until last year.
I wouldn't say it's I wouldn't say it's like a super widespread, like this happens all the time problem. I just say it's happened. This is like the second big allegation involving players or coaches in one of these situations in the last couple of years. And it's like, that's too many, in my opinion. Like it's a similar situation to what the NFL was dealing with domestic abuse, and that another like very, very sensitive subject that gets brought up a lot. It's something that I think the league needs to jump on before it becomes more of a problem. I'm not saying, oh, they're hockey players, they're like wired in to do something like that. No, what I'm saying is that this is the second big high profile case, and they need to address it before it runs because it's serious. You can't let a serious situation like this just sit in the background and try to ignore it by being like, "Ooh, we're going to Utah." Ooh. But anyway, just wanted to bring that up. Unless anyone has any other thoughts on this, I want to move on now to the NBA because, gentlemen, who's watched an NBA game recently?
There's been a lot of scoring in the NBA recently.
Mm-hmm. We've had two players score 70 plus points in the last week. Even more score 50 or 60.
Was it two? Oh, yeah, it was two. I thought Karl Anthony Towns had 70 as well, but no, he didn't.
Wasn't it Devin Booker?
So Devin Booker? Nah, that was back in like 2016.
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess there's that. Didn't Embiid do it recently?
Yeah, Embiid just had 70. Embiid had 70 on the anniversary of Kobe's 81-point game. And then
rest in peace, Mamba.
Luka just had 70 on the night of Kobe Bryant's death date.
It's like the spirit of the Mamba was guiding them.
Yeah.
Had to be. No other explanation, I don't think.
It is. Now, this has brought up an interesting point because if you've watched the NBA recently, the NBA has kind of transitioned into now this. The best way to describe it is that scoring has gone out of control. A game with let me give an example. A game with a final score. So last night I watched OKC Thunder, Minnesota Timberwolves. Battle for first place in the West, which, God, that's so weird to say considering those two teams.
A lot of young talent in both of those teams.
Yeah, and it was on full display. It was actually a really good game to watch. But the final score, let me pull this up, make sure I get it right. The final score of that game was, there it is, Timberwolves 107, Thunder 101. That is considered a low-scoring game in today's NBA. Here's some of the other scores from last night, just to give an idea. Knicks 113, Hornets 92. Cavs 118, Clippers 108. Celtics 118, Pelicans 112. Nets 147, Jazz 114. Suns 118, Heat 105. Rockets 135, Lakers 119. Wizards 118, Spurs 113. Mavericks 131, Magic 129. You see the point I'm trying to make?
Quite high scoring.
Where is the defense?
There hasn't been some for years.
No, there hasn't. And it's more notable now than ever that we're getting players dropping like 50 or 60 points on the regular. There is no defense in the NBA anymore at all.
I would say that I agree with that 100%, but then I also look at it in a way of like, I think the game has just evolved in a different way. There's a lot more 3-pointers now. Mm-hmm. I mean, we got guys like Embiid getting 20 fucking foul shots a night himself. So I think we just have a different game now. I wouldn't really say I agree with the no defense, but then some nights like Luka's 70-point night, I look at that night and I'm like, I wouldn't really say there was no defense. This guy was hitting behind the backboard shots. Like there's just nothing you can do to stop that, It's just some players like Luka, it's just like they just have they have the knack for the game. And if they're on one night, if they're on, there's just no stopping them. So there definitely is a lack of defense in the NBA nowadays, but then there's guys like Luka where they're just hitting crazy shots that you just can't even stop.
That's deep. In a way, that's kind of the idea you see with the NBA nowadays. I'd say that to that comment is that, the idea now is that we're not going to stop them. We're just going to outscore them.
Pretty much.
And listen, I'm not trying to like play down the accomplishments of like Joel Embiid and Luka with their ridiculous scoring. That's amazing. But there's a part of me. So I cover a lot of college hoops, and there's a part of me that watches college hoops and sees how it's more of a low scoring, defensive oriented game. And sees like a final score of like 87-81 and thinks that was a damn good game. And there's a part of me that kind of misses that, like watching like 90s and 2000s basketball when it was like tough defense, guys getting super physical, way more shots from inside the paint. That there's a part of me that really misses that. Maybe it's because I'm becoming a jaded old man and I don't like 3-pointers. But at the same time, you can't help but admit, you're watching some of these teams play. It's like there's like no effort on the defensive side of the ball. Guys are just like rolling to the basket and no one's even trying to stop them. And I'll argue that there might be a part of that in that today's referees are a lot softer than they used to be. Have you seen compilations of some of the fouls that guys are getting? Like there was the one guy in the Cavs who like handed the ball off to the ref, and I guess the ref didn't like the way he handed it off to her, so she gave him a technical foul. That's some bullshit. That is straight bullshit. You should not get a technical foul because you handed the ball off to the ref and then immediately turned your back to go back to your huddle. You got a technical foul for that.
Yeah.
Yoni says the problem, in my opinion, is almost every team plays the same offense.
Yeah, exactly. Steph Curry and the Warriors run the NBA.
Yeah, no, I would agree to that. Their style of like of super wide open basketball, taking 3-pointers. Every team tried to copy that, and now every team is like averaging like 120 points a night.
Because even the Warriors-Lakers game the other night went in the double overtime, and I just feel as if it was because they were trying to match each other with each shot. I watched D'Angelo Russell turn the ball over 3 times in a row, literally 3 straight possessions. D'Angelo Russell turned the ball over. On the 3rd possession they turned the ball over, the Warriors ended up turning the ball over back to the Lakers. D'Angelo Russell gets the ball for a 4th time now on a fast break. And the first thing he does, he has LeBron driving in transition with him. He has Anthony Davis driving in transition with him. You know what he does? He pulls up and shoots a 3-pointer.
Oh God. I hate that. It also makes, I think, the entire sport less entertaining when they do shit like that.
He pulls
come on, man.
Of course he hit it because that's how they got into the second overtime, but that's what he did. He pulled up and shot a 3-pointer after turning the ball over 3 straight times. So that just shows you how the NBA is nowadays.
And that's why I really like that Thunder Timberwolves game from last night, because they actually were playing good defense. Like that game ended with both teams barely scoring 50 points in the first half. I was watching thinking, oh, this is awesome. They're getting aggressive out there. Hell yeah, let's do this. I don't know why, but it's just those kind of like throwback games that make me go like, wow, we need more of those, you know? And I'm not saying high scoring is bad for the league at all, but there's a part of it that is, because you brought it up, Gnome. That kind of shit makes it less enjoyable to watch. It's been really hard recently for me to like get into the NBA and watch the NBA frequently. Like, tune in on every night. Part of that is because, like baseball and football are my two babies. And also, the motorsports season has started. Woo, NASCAR. So that's going to be my big focus for the rest of the year, probably. Yeah, sorry. I see that look, Gnome. I see that look. I had to get it.
No, that wasn't it. I just had a thought. I was just thinking that like for, it makes the sport less entertaining, but the reason that they do it is because it's effective, and that's kind of turned into how you win. For example, that whole debate, 96 Bulls or whatever the Warriors team was it 2016 or something?
2016,
that like
yeah.
I've said I think it would be the 2016 Warriors because I think they would just rain threes all over them. And I don't think there's anything you can do to stop it. I think that's how with the way that the game has evolved and how the rules have changed and everything like that, I think that team is that's how you win now. That's how you win now. That's how you get more points.
And I used to think that Bulls team would beat that Warriors team, but nowadays, what I see Draymond can do, he can match the intensity of Dennis Rodman in the NBA.
You think so?
Want to shout out some fans, by the way, who are checking in from work. Thanks to you guys. And also, Yoni quickly says T-Wolves are interesting with the two big men, not many teams equipped to deal with it. That is true. But go ahead, Calvin. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just, agreeing with Noam saying that team could probably win.
I don't know if I agree with Draymond being I do think he's one of the best defensive players of all time, but I mean,
he's an asshole, bro. Did you see how he did? In that Lakers game the other day, he literally smacked the shit out of Anthony Davis across his face.
He has a problem, bro. Like, he has a problem. He always does this. We're always talking about this with him. Every time he comes back from a suspension, he's just like, I'm running it back, getting another one. Like, it doesn't matter.
Bro. It's like he doesn't learn anything while he's out.
I've learned nothing. Like, it doesn't matter.
So I'll say this much. I personally think that I think the Bulls would put up more than the fight that people give them credit for, just because the defense would be a little. But you guys are right. The Warriors, Warriors probably would still beat that team just from 3-pointers alone, because teams back in the 90s didn't shoot threes like that. They had like one guy who could shoot threes. Now, obviously, the 96 Bulls guy was Steve Kerr, so that would be fun to see. Yeah, that basically describes Draymond Green. That basically describes him. He's not. He's shooting hoops on the side.
He's an asshole, bro. Like this 40s thing. I'm like, that sums him up.
My question is, before we move on to football, is this: what would it take? What's the next big shift in the NBA going to be? What's it going to take, to slow down the game and like shift the way scoring is again? Because at this point, I think scoring is going to go out of control until we see somebody crack 200 points in a game. But
for sure,
I'm waiting for it, man. I'm surprised we haven't seen 200 points in a game yet. Honestly, what's
the highest ever? What's the highest teams ever scored? 160 something at this point. 170.
I want to say OKC. It was like 172.
By team, let's see the record. What the hell? December 13th, 1983, the Detroit Pistons dropped 186 points on the Nuggets in double overtime.
What happened? You said 83?
What's the most recent?
The most recent, February 24th, 2023. Hang on. Let me make sure this is right. Yep, February 24th, 2023, the Kings dropped 176 points on the Clippers.
Kings, that's who it was.
They beat them by 1 point, though.
Yeah, I remember that game.
186 points in the 80s. What the hell happened to that game? So, I'll just look at this up. The game went into triple overtime. That's why it was so high. Nuggets' Kiki Vandeweghe scored 51 points. Pistons' Isaiah Thomas had 47. John Long had 41. Kelly Tripucka had 35. Alex English for the Nuggets had 47. Dan Issel had 28, which was that's like the normal thing from the 80s. My God, that's crazy. So here's my question. Here's my big question. Is that what's it going to take to slow down the scoring. Which coach is going to invent some crazy defensive scheme to like make shooting 3-pointers no longer effective? Because that's the only way. That is the only way that I think we can see the scoring come to a stop. Anyone have any ideas?
Honestly, I'm not sure. Who I don't know. I'm not sure. I honestly don't know because
question.
Yeah, you got to look at it like this. I read a stat today, actually, that Warriors Lakers game was the most viewed NBA game in the since one of the Christmas Day games last year. So basically, it's saying that LeBron and Steph are still running the league to this day. Pretty much, LeBron and Steph. I mean, I feel like when they leave, the game is just going to evolve even more, and guys are just going to want to score even more now. I just think that scoring is. I think we'll see 200 points before we see a game that you want, Isaac, where it's 90 to 80.
No.
Do we want that?
I think the game is just going to evolve more once those guys leave.
I just want to see defense, man. That's all I want. Anyway, with that being said, all right, it's time. We got to talk about it. By the way, Noman's getting lit up in the live chat.
What is happening?
I don't know what happened, bro, but you were getting lit up in the live chat. Like, guys, Noman's a great guy. I don't know why Noman's been through a lot. I don't know why y'all are coming after him.
What is happening?
I saw that. I'm not posting those up on the main screen just because they are going after you. But anyway. Oh boy, we gotta talk about it. So conference championship weekend. Interesting. We're not gonna do our Super Bowl preview just yet. We're gonna wait till next week to do it, the week of the Super Bowl. But we do have to talk about the conference championship games. All right. Considering that one of my teams won, I'm gonna swear right now, because I know I got really toxic about this on Sunday and on Monday. Kylie knows what I'm talking about there. I promise that I will be respectful for the next 30 minutes during this discussion, and I will not step out of line and use certain phrases I shouldn't say to describe certain players.
Yeah, what would those be? Go on. No, expose yourself, please. I got a lot to say about this. Go on. I wish you would use those phrases. I wish you would. Go ahead and celebrate our 100th by getting canceled. And deserving to be canceled.
I'm not going to get us canceled. It was I'm not going to be toxic. I promise. So no, I'm not going to be toxic. I'm not going to be toxic about it.
What game are we talking about first?
You should have seen him, 40. You should have seen this guy.
Yeah,
you should have seen him.
It was bad. Let's talk about the NFC Championship game first. We'll ease into it. So, congratulations to the San Francisco 49ers for erasing a 24-7 deficit to beat the Detroit Lions and advance to the Super Bowl for how many times is this now that they've been in here? Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8th time San Francisco 49ers have made the Super Bowl. Yeah, wild game. 34-31. San Francisco just completely flipped the script in the second half. And everyone's coming for Dan Campbell's throat, because instead of taking 2 easy field goals and taking the points, he went for it, failed to convert, and instead of winning 38-34, which they would have had they made those field goals, think about it, that last touchdown they scored in garbage time would have been a game winning touchdown. They lost. They lost by 3. And one of the greatest seasons in the history of the Detroit Lions is flushed down the drain. So, discuss.
This weekend sucked for football.
It's debatable. Go on.
No, it was horrible. It was horrible. Like, literally, we've already seen the Super Bowl, this exact Super Bowl in the last 5 years. Ain't no one with an actual brain wanted this freaking Super Bowl.
I bet you said the same thing.
Lions, man.
I bet you'd say the same thing in the 70s when Cowboys Steelers happened for the second time.
That was a great game I was talking about.
No, but in all seriousness, no. Detroit came out with a lot of firepower. They came out exactly how they should have. I think the thing that bit them in the ass, forget Dan Campbell, the thing that bit him in the ass is when CJ Gardner-Johnson decided to wave to the fans goodbye in the second quarter.
Ooh,
when they were up 24-7. There's still a whole half of football left. Definitely shouldn't be. Sorry, one of the comments.
Yeah, the comments are like just
one of the comments known distracted me, but yeah, they
Tell me
have a whole second half of football to play. Can't be waving to the fans goodbye in the second quarter. But also Dan Campbell, they ended up losing the game by 3 points. Kick the field goal, man. Several times you had opportunities to put points on the board.
We will, Yoni. Don't worry. We'll get to that.
That's not my issue with it, is that they're dominant.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But San Fran came on the second half and showed us why they're the number one seed. They also showed us why they are going to the Super Bowl next weekend. Not this weekend, next weekend. Because that second half, that second half of football was what we saw from San Francisco all year. So pretty much something that was expected. I think we all picked San Francisco to win the game anyway. So,
I didn't think they would do it like that. I'll say this much. I was really impressed with Brock Purdy. Like people have been, we haven't really talked about Brock Purdy that much.
He had some plays that bailed him out, but I was impressed as well. Like that deep ball to Brandon Ayuk should have been intercepted. I don't know how that gets caught, but
San Fran fans are calling it.
He broke it up.
They're calling it the fluke to Ayuk.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That's a good one.
Ayuk was on fire the whole game.
He really was.
Like even in the first quarter, you see that sideline catch in the first quarter? That was crazy.
Ayuk's a great receiver, man. I think I've mentioned before to both of you guys. I actually played him in college when he was at junior college, Sierra.
I didn't know that. Hold on, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
That's wild, bro.
I played Ayuk when he was at junior college, when he went to Sierra before Arizona State.
Hey, listen, I'm going to say this about the Niners, bro. They're the Niners are the kind of football team that you got to be scared of, because they went into that half down 24-7, and they just immediately, they came out, they knew what they were going to do. They made perfect halftime adjustments. This is not like the same Niners team we saw the last time they made the Super Bowl. This is a Niners team, I think, that's honestly more lethal.
Yeah, they have
shout out Kyle Shanahan,
because Debo is in his prime now. They got C-Mac now.
They have two of them. They have two Debos.
They've got a more consistent quarterback. No offense to Jimmy Garoppolo, but it's just...
No, Brock Purdy's definitely better.
And Brock Purdy really impressed me. Brock
impressed me the whole season.
Brock Purdy's been getting a lot of flack this season for people calling him assistant quarterback. If he's assistant quarterback, it's a damn good system, because bro was making some great throws out there.
It is a damn good system. Yeah, we know that though. Shanahan's system is the best in
really is
in the NFL, in my opinion. It is the easiest offense to operate.
And I'll say this much about the Lions. Once again, it's like Dan Campbell, he's done a great job motivating the Lions and getting them to this point. But the consistent problem all season with the Lions, the one thing holding them back, is that Dan Campbell is just too damn aggressive, and he doesn't know when to turn it off. Remember the Cowboys game?
They're here. They're not actually that good. That's why they're here. That's why they're in there. That's why they're in the NFC Championship.
Yeah. That aggression got them this far. Yeah, their aggression has gotten them far. But remember that Dallas game? Yeah, they got screwed by that call. That was a horrible call by the refs. But remember what happened after that? Instead of taking the extra point and forcing overtime against an exhausted Dallas defense that you had just carved up on that last drive, the Lions kept going for 2, and they failed. And we saw the same thing here. They could have dialed back the aggression just a bit, taken those field goals. San Fran probably was still going to come back, because they knew because after that first half, they were like, we got them. We know how to beat these guys now, because they analyzed the Lions and were like, we know exactly what we got to do. Even if they had come back, Detroit still would have won, because that garbage time touchdown that they scored would have been a game winner, And also Josh Reynolds dropping wide open passes doesn't help. But no. I'm disappointed in Detroit. I would have loved to see Detroit make the Super Bowl, but at the end of the day, if you're going to collapse like that and not respond, sorry.
I think Detroit's only going to get better, though. They just got great news today. They're getting Ben Johnson back as their offensive coordinator.
They are.
They got a little bit of cap space as well. And I don't think they have too many guys going into the free agency, so they should be an even better team next year, and probably be if not right back in the NFC Championship, they could make a push for the Super Bowl next year. But they should definitely be a top team in the NFC again next year.
I agree. I'm a little concerned with Dan Campbell's post-game speech to his players. Yeah. Don't look at the fucking comments, guys. The comments have completely lost the plot. The comments have lost the plot. This live chat is wild. You guys showed up for this 100th episode and apparently decided that Gnome would be your target. I wonder what he did.
I didn't do anything.
He didn't do anything.
Show Yoni's comment though. That's a good comment there.
Yoni says Goff's going to get a bag. He is. Jared Goff has really turned it around the last couple of years.
That was a good trade for both teams. I mean, I was really hoping the Lions would win, get their Super Bowl, and be like both teams got a Super Bowl out of that trade. And both quarterbacks went to a different system and thrived. I thought that'd been interesting. That'd have been a fun series of events.
I would have loved
the Niners are moving.
I saw somebody saying something along the lines of like something like the only Matt Stafford can lead the Lions to a Super Bowl. Technically, I mean, him getting traded. Technically true.
As of now, it's still true. Sorry, Goff. Maybe next year. They're young though. I think like this was another huge step on their trajectory. I think they're just going to get better from here.
Oh, probably that to this comment you probably will because
it's mostly your fault, Ari.
Unfortunately, we got to talk about it now, guys. We got to move to the AFC Championship game. So in the AFC Championship, the Kansas City Chiefs, for the fourth time in the last 5 years, advanced to the Super Bowl with an upset win over the Baltimore Ravens.
That's how I felt about it.
Yeah. I'm going to be completely honest with y'all. I'm going to be completely
here
honest.
He goes. I wish
No, I really did not think we were going to win that. I was convinced going in that the Ravens were going to at the very either crush us or squeak out a miracle win. I did not expect that at all. I don't think anybody did.
I've been waiting all week to speak on this. I haven't.
I have so many opinions.
Like I haven't said anything on Twitter. I haven't, I haven't really said how I feel. But I'll be honest with you. The Ravens didn't play Raven football.
They did not.
They did not. No.
I'll put it like that. That's number one. The Ravens did not play Raven football. Number two, a lot of people want to put this blame and this game on Lamar Jackson and things of that nature. Did Lamar Jackson play a great game? Hell no. Did Lamar Jackson play a good game? Yeah,
no.
Okay. No, but did Lamar Jackson play terrible? No, he didn't play terrible. But one thing Lamar Jackson did do that I was not impressed with was Lamar Jackson
pick into triple coverage.
Yeah, sorry about this, guys. Sorry about that. We had to.
1,000%. Josh Allen, dumbass interception of the week. He gets it. But
Lamar, you did it, buddy.
I think Lamar was trying to erase a narrative this week. I think he wanted to show the world. The world keeps saying, "Oh, he's not quarterbacking enough. Oh, he doesn't throw enough. Oh, he doesn't do this. He doesn't do that." There was a lot of plays in that game that if Lamar Jackson would have been Lamar Jackson and got it out that pocket, he probably would have scored 65-yard touchdowns, 50-yard touchdowns on the ground and stuff like that. But I think he was trying to impress the narrative too much of I need to be a quarterback more than I need to be a running back. And I think if he would have just been Lamar Jackson instead of trying to chase a narrative, they would have won that football game. Okay. As well as, I
gotta speak. I gotta speak.
Yeah. I got one more thing, and I'm giving it right to you. Defense played terrible in that first half. They came out in the second half and played insane, out their mind.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, they shut us down. I was like, I was like, what the hell? Like, guys, like, come on, we're supposed to be winning this game. What are we doing?
Kansas City doesn't score a point in the second half. Baltimore's offense has to come out and excel and take advantage of that.
It was crazy. Yeah.
And did nothing at all. That Josh Allen dumbass interception of the week doesn't help. Zay Flowers fumbling on the 1-yard line doesn't help. Zay Flowers taunting before he fumbles on the 1-yard line doesn't help.
Like, bro, if you're gonna taunt, like, make sure do it like Kelsey and make sure the refs don't see it.
Do it like Kelsey.
I'm admitting that. So, I'm admitting Kelsey was doing it all game too. You were right. Kelsey was doing it all game too. Kelsey wasn't making it obvious. Well, the refs. Okay, I can't defend that one. He was like, I was watching that. I was like, dude,
no. It wasn't the exact same. Like, I do agree. Like, it because the defender was holding on to him, Zay pushes off and then does it right there. So it is more aggressive than Kelsey doing the whole first down thing every time. But other than that, it is the exact same thing, and he does it every play. I can't believe he called that.
He was no, dude. I agree. Like, if you're gonna call taunting on Zay Flowers, you gotta be even though.
Do it like Kelsey, be white and date Taylor Swift. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Whoa,
maybe
whoa.
Maybe you're right.
I mean, he's got a point. He's got a point. He's got a point. Here's my last thing though. Before I give it to you, the Ravens were the #1 rushing team in the goddamn NFL. Run the fucking football.
You know I was going to talk about this. Oh, my God.
Gus Edwards
they played the whole game as if they were down 30 points. They were down no more than 10 points the entire game.
Isaac said this exact thing when we were watching it, and he was 100% right.
I was so confused, man, because, like, early in the game, Gus Edwards ripped off a 15-yard run against us, and I was like, oh, God, here they go. Because Willie Gay was out. Willie Gay was out, and Chris Jones was hurt.
Chris Jones was hurt. He was playing through injury.
And they were just – and, like, yeah, like listen, like Yoni says, 32 rushes game in the regular season. What I think would happen before I let you go now, what happened is that on that opening drive, when the Chiefs just marched down the field, got the ball to Kelsey, and immediately scored after holding the Ravens to a 3-and-out, I think Baltimore panicked. I think Baltimore was like, "Holy shit, we're not going to walk over these guys." And unlike last week against the Texans, where they made the proper adjustments at the half, they still did this game because that first half it just felt like the Ravens had panicked and completely changed game plans. But I feel like they also made the proper adjustments at halftime because we saw their defense just shut the Chiefs down. We couldn't do anything. It wasn't even like we were playing conservative, like give the ball to Pacheco. We were trying out there, and they were kicking our ass. But in the second half, it was those 2 red zone turnovers. If Zay Flowers doesn't fumble, and if Lamar doesn't throw into triple coverage, the Ravens win 24-17. We were not going to score. We were not. You know, it's honestly, listen, I was rooting for the Chiefs, but at the end of the day, I'll admit it, that was one of the most heartbreaking championship losses I've ever seen because a team with that much momentum losing like that after playing so good on defense. I haven't. The closest thing, not even like the only thing worse than this, honestly, probably has got to be like the 98 Vikings because this was just brutal. I'm sure there's probably another championship game. I'm forgetting another championship loss that was.
I would have preferred losing by a field goal than this.
You're probably the biggest Ravens fan here. You have the floor.
Okay, this is just hopping in from what 40 said. The first person I blame for this is Todd Minkin and John Harbaugh. Their game plan. The 27th ranked rush defense, one of the best rushing teams, probably the best. He's mostly getting a pass. What are you on? No, he's not. Have you seen any of Ravens' Twitter? No, everyone's going for his head.
I think Ravens' Twitter doesn't allow me to be on there anymore.
Oh, yeah, you.
Yeah, go on. Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. That's.
They didn't play well. They played terribly. The game plan. They went away from their strengths, and the OC and the head coach are who are just for their terrible game plan. That's the first person I blame for this loss because this just doesn't happen if you play this game any other way. Mm-hmm. Even like when the Chiefs were dominating the first half, they weren't like dominating by that much. And even with how bad like the game plan was in the second half, they were still, look how much had to go wrong for the Chiefs to win by 1 touchdown. And think about how much everything went wrong for the Ravens this game, and the Chiefs won by 1 touchdown. If this happens any other way, the Ravens are in the Super Bowl. So the first people I blame for this, the head coach and the OC, Todd Menken. Second person I blame is Lamar. Listen, I get it, and I saw him do very well in this game too. There was a couple things where he still was. Get that off the screen. There's a couple things where he still was Lamar. Like he would just dodge sacks and everything like that. But even when he was doing that stuff, he wasn't playing at that MVP level that we expect from him. He was like, you saw that one where he got out of a sack, extended the play for 13 seconds, and still took a sack. I was like, what? That I've never seen him do that. He knows to get rid of the ball.
So
he
that
was missing wide open receivers. I don't know what was going on.
That play right there, sorry, before you go on, but that play right there is the specific play I was talking about. That could have been a 60-yard rushing touchdown.
It would have, yeah. Take off, bro. Since when was his decision making like that? Like, since when is his decision making that bad? And he was like he was missing checkdowns and making the wrong reads the entire game. I don't know what was going on, but to be fair, you just run the ball more, you're probably fine.
His best play was to himself. If we're being honest.
I love that play.
That was insane.
That was insane. But even that, he was a little bit off. Like you see that 4th down conversion, in the 4th down conversion, he breaks free. He gets open and he gets chased down because he tries to stiff arm. That's not like Lamar. Like, what are you doing? Outrun him. And in that one where he gets caught from behind, where he passed the ball to himself, it got knocked up. He catches it. He takes off with it. He gets chased down by a linebacker.
Yeah.
Even then, I'm just like, ooh, I know it's raining out and everything. I know it's like nitpicks, but this is Lamar Jackson, who's probably going to still win MVP this season. Like, he needs to perform at a better. Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you doing? Like, this Lamar knows how to do this stuff, and he was just not doing it. Do I think Harbaugh gets fired? No. Nor do I think you should, because you have to think if Harbaugh gets fired. Who are you replacing Harbaugh with? Who are you replacing Harbaugh with if he's fired? Are you going to find someone better than him? Because he's a top 5
Absolutely
coach
not.
in the league. So if you're gonna fire him to get to the next level, you have to. No, Belichick's not working with. No,
I'm kidding.
I think Bill. Yeah. Bill is like Saban. The game has evolved too much for those guys to dominate anymore. Like
in this offense, particularly,
Saban made his decision based on how the era of college football is now. Like he knows he can't do anything with how college football is now. I think Belichick in NFL is the same way. I don't think his style of coaching or anything of that nature goes with the NFL anymore. Like the game has evolved too much.
There was also a crazy amount of discipline problem with the Ravens. They were getting the amount of penalties. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a ton of ref ball in the game that I'm going to talk about. Before I get to that, let's not pretend like the Ravens do some of this to themselves. They had 12 men on the field in the AFC Championship game. How does that happen?
There were a couple of hits.
That because Lamar Jackson had like 15 if you count all the guys who were wearing red underneath the white, the black and white. Just saying. I mean, do I
have to whip out the sound clip of a baby crying, bro? Come on, let's be civil.
Lamar's dumbass interception. If you watch a little bit more Aaron Rodgers highlights, he probably completes that.
Yeah. I'll be honest. There were a couple hits that the Ravens did on Patrick Mahomes that game. That one where he got clotheslined by I don't know, 98 for you guys, and then the guy threw an elbow on the ground, the one which Davian Clowney like headhunted him. There were a couple of hits that I was like, holy shit, like God, like they were hitting him. They were
very undisciplined.
Yeah, it was like I was like, this is weird because y'all haven't been playing like this in the regular season.
No, they weren't. But that being said, it wasn't. I got to get into it. I got to get into it.
Go ahead. I have a response, but I'll let you go first.
There's a hold on Odell. There's a hold on Isaiah Likely.
There's always going to be missed calls
like that. Because I'm sick of hearing
this. These were blatant. These were blatant.
I'm sick of hearing this shit too, and acting like the refs did not affect the outcome of the game. I just told you who I blamed for it, and it's first and foremost the Ravens. Because even with the insane amount of ref ball that we are now going to talk about, even with this amount, the Ravens still should have won, and it's on them that they didn't. I'm saying that, but let's not pretend that the refs didn't affect the game a little bit. Like, yeah, you take any of those things away, the Ravens probably do win, but they didn't need any of those to win. They made their own mistakes that lost in the game. I hold the Ravens accountable for this loss. That being said, it doesn't mean that the ref ball that there wasn't any ref ball. It doesn't mean it didn't exist. I mean, I think this was the second worst game in recent memory that I've seen involving the refs. But I will point out, though, that the first worst one was against the Chiefs a couple years back when they played the Bucs at the Super Bowl, and the refs set the record for penalties in the first half against the team. That was against the Chiefs. Like, we all remember that. That was the ref bowl. That Super Bowl was it. So, but I will say this, though. Like, the ref ball was terrible. I mean, Isaiah Likely got tackled. It wasn't just defensive holding. He got tackled, and there was no call.
They brought that. Sorry to interrupt you, but they brought that ref in the middle of the week, right? There was like a whole different officiating crew before that game, and then once the Chiefs got into the game, then they moved the officiating around and brought in this guy that 58% of away teams win when he's the ref, and this,
Sean
that,
Smith.
and the third, and
usually he I didn't hear that they brought him in the middle of the week. I thought he was assigned ahead of time, but
I think he got assigned ahead of time. I didn't hear about that.
I know he was assigned ahead of time. But
look it up.
All right.
There might have been someone on his crew that wasn't. I don't know. I know that him in particular and his crew are known because in the NFL they study referees and they study what their tendencies to make certain calls to try and it's part of the game to try and exploit that and everything like that. So I don't know. Maybe the Chiefs just did really good. So, but I will say like let's not pretend like Isaac. You saw the same game I did. Even on that playing the triple coverage, Isaiah Likely is being interfered with before the ball even gets there on the interception.
One of those guys was turned around looking at the ball, though, so that's why they wouldn't call that. I
One
saw
of
the
them
ref.
was turning on
I
the
saw
ground
I saw the ref about to throw it out, but then pulled it back because
before he caught the ball. Isaiah Likely is being pushed out of the way. It's pass interference.
That's on the triple coverage one, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
One of the guys is already looking back and trying to cover the ball on that. I think that's why the ref.
The other guy pushed him out of the way before it. It doesn't matter.
It is something in hindsight. It probably would have been. It probably should have been a penalty. I will give you that. It probably should have been a penalty.
I'm not saying the guy who intercepted the ball, he did nothing wrong. He just turned back and caught it.
Yeah.
The guy in front of him who pushed like the other way before the ball.
Listen. Listen. I'm not gonna disagree with you because there were a couple calls that I was like, holy shit. There were some holding calls against the Chiefs early on. I was like, what the fuck? Like, what are we? Come on, guys. But my only issue with ref ball is that it seems like it seems like that certain teams get hit with ref ball allegations more than others.
Okay.
No one was talking ref ball about Lions 49ers.
No, there weren't. And can I tell you what? This goes back. You're sick of hearing about this. And for the record, I want to point out before I get into this, I don't actually think the NFL is rigged. I actually don't believe that it is. But I will say this. The NFL wants to make money, and it is a business, and have always tried to make money. That's why you see the camera on Taylor Swift all the time. And no, I don't blame her for that, nor do I blame Travis Kelce. I blame the NFL for trying to make money off her. But I do think there's a vested interest in getting her to the Super Bowl, and now she gets to go. Now, Travis Kelce taunts every play it's not called. Zay Flowers does it once it's called. Two very egregious pass interference penalties. Kelce instigates a fight. Kyle Van Noy goes up to him, bumps helmets with him. That's a flag on Van Noy for unnecessary roughness. I'm just saying, I don't think it's rigged, but I will say they are doing a very good, for a game that's not rigged, they are doing a very good job of making it seem like it is rigged by specifically targeting.
I will agree with you on that. I definitely think that if I'm the NFL, there have been some moments. I will agree with you on that. The NFL is not doing themselves any favors because you see the discourse surrounding like the Chiefs in particular and how like a big chunk of the NFL's younger fan base hates this team. And I'll get into that a bit because there's another thing I want to go off about like modern day fan discourse in the NFL. But like the NFL is not doing themselves any favors when their officiating crews miss calls like that. You know, there's like when they do that, like they are not doing themselves any favors. Because, I don't think the NFL is rigged at all. I think if it's that rigged, somebody would have spilled the beans by now. And the few people that have, who have tried to, it's been like, bro, you sound like crazy what you're saying. You know,
there was that whole script reveal, though.
I will say this though.
That's the thing. Playing off of the whole script joke. The thing is like, dude, don't do that because today's sports fans are fucking idiots. They're gonna believe that shit.
But not only that, the NFL is actually they're legally able to rig games if they want to. Maybe the players aren't involved in it, and I mean maybe the owners aren't involved in it as well. But the refs. They can legally rig that if they want to. The NFL is actually entertainment like the WWE. So, it can be rigged if they wanted to rig it. So I'm not going to the players might not be involved, but I'm not just going to completely say it's not rigged. Cause it's like, even with like I hate to switch sports, but even like the NBA, Anthony Edwards, the Timberwolves won the game last night and Anthony Edwards still got fined $250,000 last night for calling out the referees, saying the cheating ass referees, and that's after a win. So if these are players complaining about the referees after a win, like, come on now, like I can't say that these referees are not doing things to rig these games because there's a lot of referees that came out from back in the day saying, oh yeah, we rigged those games or this, that, and the third. There was a whole referee group that had a pact against Allen Iverson. Literally.
Listen, I think one thing we ought to remember is that like the NBA, like you said, there has been indisputable proof. Like referees that come forward and said, yeah, we rigged games. The 2002 Western Conference Finals was rigged. I don't think any NFL refs have come out and said that they intentionally like threw the game or like made a bad call to change the game until the day one.
I think there's been a couple, but I just don't think anyone took them seriously.
Including
myself.
I don't know. Listen, I'm not going to deny that there were some questionable calls in that game. There's questionable calls in every game, and it really sucks when it's on the bigger games. No, there are questionable calls in every game. If you watch tape of every game,
this one was really bad.
I don't think it was as bad as you're making out to be completely honest. I think that it wasn't a case like 2018's conference championships with the Nola no call and that bullshit at Arrowhead.
This one is literally worse. The one on Likely is worse. He tackles him before the ball even gets there.
Okay.
It's way worse.
Put the last comment up. Put the last comment up.
Fair.
We'd be drinking all night. I say that shit all day.
I picked the right time to go sober. Holy shit. No, I think like I'm not going to deny it. There were some bad calls in that game, but I don't think I still don't think those calls were as change the game as much as you think they are. I think that even if they call pass interference against Likely and give the Ravens a chance at close to the goal line, even if they score, you still at very best are getting to overtime because because you still have the Zay Flowers fumble. Even if Zay Flowers
fumbles happen beforehand.
Yeah, no, because that would still happen. You're still only going to be able to force overtime. You know.
Yeah,
we can't safely say we can't. And again, dude, I get it. Some of those calls, like, even as a Chiefs fan, watching the game, there were a couple calls where I was like, "Oh, that was what the hell, bro?" There were, but I'm not gonna sit here and say that they had as big a part of affecting the game as you do. I will say they had a partial part, and definitely like it's an ongoing problem with NFL officiating, and it really sucks that one of my favorite teams is constantly getting bailed out by these because it just makes it harder and harder for me to justify being a fan of them. Because every time I say, "Yeah, go Chiefs," I get told by 14-year-olds on TikTok, "You're an old man, fuck you," which did happen. That was really fun. To be fair, I was commenting under his post, "Womp womp," because he was saying, Lamar failed us. There's no point in watching the Super Bowl now. It's like, well,
agreed.
Hey, you don't got to watch the Super Bowl, but millions of girls are gonna because Taylor Swift. Yeah,
you're right. Exactly. I wonder why. You have a motive.
Leave that poor girl alone.
I didn't say nothing bad about her.
All right.
No, I will agree with you, Isaac. I think that the Ravens beat themselves more than the refs beat the Ravens.
Oh, yeah. No, I've said that from the beginning.
If that game went in the overtime, I mean, we don't know because it didn't go into overtime. But I think if that game goes into overtime, the Chiefs do not come out with that win.
I don't know if we would. That's the thing.
I don't see how that would in this.
Yeah, I don't think they
look
come
at
out
the
with that
second
win.
half.
If they go into overtime, I feel like we would have seen the real Lamar Jackson that we saw all year. Because I don't know who we saw on Sunday, but that wasn't Lamar Jackson. That was Omar Jackson or some bullshit. I don't know who the hell that
Is that a Wire reference?
Yeah.
Is that a Wire reference?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Hey, listen.
I want to say this though before you get any further, Isaac, because I already know what you're gonna say. I also want to point out, because I'm gonna defend the Ravens flock here and say this: every team, when this kind of shit happens, especially when there's a crazy amount of ref ball, every team gets upset that their team has lost. Every team
you're right.
blames the ref. Every team's fan base, right, blames the ref and has their frustration. Okay, not every team gets mad that their second. Not every fan base gets mad that their second favorite team isn't being liked enough. I'm just saying.
But check this out.
I understood that reference.
It's funny because the Chiefs lost the game on a controversial referee call this year against the Bills.
Yeah,
and their quarterback cried like a pansy bitch.
He did, and I'm not a fan of that.
But
that annoyed me.
Any other time that these guys win a game off of a penalty, then it's the best thing since sliced bread. And we went out there and we dominated, and we got that.
We're not. And I think that's is not being talked about enough.
I think that is why, I think that in the comparison to this guy is better than Tom Brady already. I think that is why people are starting to hate Patrick Mahomes, is because it's like you portray yourself as one way when you win, but you portray yourself a whole different way when you lose. And the same way that you're losing is the same way that the rest of these teams are losing against you. So it's just like
the thing that I disagree with on that is that the Chiefs have only done that once. That Buffalo game which was a correctly called penalty because Kadarius Toney was a dumbass. That's the only instance I've ever seen of the Chiefs kind of having a meltdown at the end of the game and complaining about the refs like that.
That's the only time they could have a meltdown at the beginning at the end of the game, because why? The refs are always on their side.
They're like one of the most penalized teams in the league, though, according to league stats. They're like one of the most penalized. They're like they're at least up there.
They won a Super Bowl last year off a penalty call, and
a correct penalty call that was only criticized because the refs have been really stingy about not calling them all game, which I agree. That was dumb. Keep it consistent.
And the thing is, so he wins that game off a penalty call, right?
I agree.
No problem at all. No problem at all. He loses that Bills game and he says, "Oh, the refs can't decide the end of the game. You shouldn't do that."
That is fair. That is fair. Okay,
you know what else? You know what else is fair? You know what else is fair? Just because there's a difference between players and their fan base. Obviously, Chiefs fans after the Bills game were blah 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 about the refs, but the difference was Patrick Mahomes was too. Okay, did you guys see Lamar after this game and what he's gone into the press and everything like that? The maturity and responsibility that he's handled everything with. I mean, it's not going to ever get talked about because we won't want to talk about how much he fucking sucks and how he's a running back and how the Ravens really should consider moving on from him and other nonsense that I've heard from certain people. Like, we're talking about that stuff instead. Instead of
No comment. I was pissed off at children on the internet when I made those comments. I'll out myself. I was pissed. Listen. If anyone's curious, listen. I was pissed off after that win, not because like we had won. I should have been happy we were going to the Super Bowl, but I was pissed off because like of different reasons. Yeah,
it was very tense after the game between BBS staff members.
Listen.
But look, no. Moving on. We don't have to talk about that. You're fine. Like, okay. You're fine. But I'll say, like, we're not talking about is how Lamar has handled the situation with class and everything.
He really
like
has.
That.
He really has.
Even though this game, I mean, in my opinion, the calls in this one were worse than the Chiefs one. I mean, as we said, that one was probably a correct call. The no calls in this game, the calls that didn't happen in this game, I think are what people are really upset about.
It was a correct call, and listen, I won't lie. Patrick Mahomes' behavior after that game was honestly unacceptable. Like, bro, you don't act like that. Like, especially when your team has benefited from questionable calls. I'm not gonna lie on that. You know, I feel
he makes a good point. Like, he makes a good point in that I actually agree. By the way, about the Super Bowl last year, I agree with you, Isaac. I think that was a correct call, and I think I think in general the Eagles were benefited more from the refs in that game than the Chiefs did. But it's when the call happens that I think that's causing public opinion to sway towards this. And I think that's what 40's trying to say. Like, it's just like when this happens and your team is benefiting from these things happening at the right moments for them, and you act a certain way about it. Oh, why is no one talking about what we've accomplished here? And we're going back, we're the dynasty we're establishing, yada, yada. But then when you lose, you cry about it. To the media, to the players after the game, to the refs.
The Chiefs are not making a good case of people supporting them. And I want to bring in this. I wasn't going to talk about this as much, but I do want to bring this in really quick. Really quick. I was going to bring in the fact that there's been a concerning amount of discourse recently. Not a lot in the mainstream, which I'm glad to see, but there's been some discourse recently about how the Chiefs are more dislikable than the Patriots dynasty.
They are.
I've seen a couple of them, and all I'm going to say is this. The Patriots dynasty literally cheated.
Yes.
Now, I'll say this much. I'll give the Patriots credit. Bill Belichick had his little pudgy little hands around their throats and said, don't do stupid shit in the media to make us look bad. They look bad because they literally got caught cheating multiple times. The Chiefs have gotten really cocky with their success and kind of have been bitches. As a Chiefs fan, I will say we have been acting like bitches with our success. That is our crime. Okay? It is very annoying, and I agree. If I wasn't a Chiefs fan, if I didn't have deep family connections to that area of the country, I would find them very annoying and want the 49ers to win the Super Bowl. So I'm not saying, listen, if you are rooting against the Chiefs, I understand it. We are painting ourselves as the villains, and the refs are not helping us. And the league is not helping us. The NFL is not helping us either. But what we're not going to do is implement some revisionist history and say that the Patriots dynasty was more likable because they literally cheated.
I could not agree more with you, Isaac. I could not agree more. I'm a Ravens fan coming off of what just happened Sunday, and there has been no controversies involving Andy Reid or the Chiefs organization cheating or Patrick Mahomes cheating. Like, we all joke about how Pat plays the refs and how he owns them and everything, but there actually has not been any controversy with that, as opposed to the Patriots, who cheated like 20 times. like so I do agree. I think it's just recency bias why people are saying the Chiefs are more unlikable. Like, for example, at the moment, I currently hate the Chiefs more than I hate the Patriots. But
fair enough.
Is
I wonder why.
Which dynasty is worse? Yeah, it's probably the Patriots. I mean, I have
the Chiefs aren't even technically a dynasty yet. They have to win next Sunday to become a dynasty.
I assume that the refs will swing it for y'all.
I don't know, bro, because like the last couple Super Bowls, outside of that one like bad call at the not bad call, except for that one call at the end of last year's Super Bowl. Wait, no. With the exception of the ref bowl, the last couple of wait, no, shit, I can't say that.
That's the thing, though.
Because like the refs have kind of impacted the last 3 Super Bowls. Because remember,
they've had their hands on all of them.
The end of 2021, even though that game was very, very clean, other than like the T. Higgins face mask that didn't get called on the long touchdown. Remember, at the end of that, the Rams got down to the 5-yard line. The refs called like 3 straight holding calls, which were all good calls, but it was just everyone was like, "Oh God!" It just left a sour taste because you rewatched that. Because I was rewatching that final drive today, and like all of those calls the refs made right down near the goal line that got the Rams in a position to get that touchdown to Cooper Kupp. Those were good calls. Like the Bengals defense, like Eli Apple was in his fuck shit for that game. The Bengals defense was collapsing. They were like, "Holy shit, we're about to give up a game." When he drive to Matt fucking Stafford, and they just started making mistakes, and the refs were on them. You know. It just left a sour taste in everyone's mouth because it's like, oh God damn it, the fucking refs were impacted again, even if they were good call, even if they were the correct calls. Same thing with last year, you know, it was a hold. James Bradbury did hold, but the refs hadn't called it all game. And now they did. And the timing just let a nasty taste in everyone's mouth. And then you had the ref bowl. So yeah, it's like it's definitely a fear going into the Super Bowl. It's, oh God, what's going to happen? I really hope, and considering that the Niners are not exactly the cleanest team in the NFL, concerns me. We might get a lot of penalties. I really hope we don't, but go ahead, 40. Go ahead.
I don't even remember what I was going to say.
I've been talking over you, folks. I'm so sorry. There's a lot to say about this shit.
Yoni brings up 49ers Chiefs first go around was actually not. It wasn't. That was actually a very clean game.
That was 2019, the last time I felt pain like this.
Chiefs blew them out that time. But, oh, yeah, that's actually what I was going to say. Because you were saying if people are rooting against the Chiefs, I don't blame you. But I'll be honest, the reason I want the Chiefs to win this game is because the stupidity of the media, for whatever reason, is going to put this guy Brock Purdy above Lamar Jackson and a lot of other players because he goes and wins the Super Bowl. So I honestly, as much as I hate the Chiefs, I'm rooting for Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs to go beat these guys.
I'm not. Because no one should be worried about Brock Purdy being better than Lamar Jackson. It's just insane. I know some people are saying that, like, you know, postseason should affect MVP when it's a regular.
A lot of people say that Josh Allen is better than Lamar Jackson because of the postseason and this, that, and the third. But
Josh Allen has at least a 9. First of all, he's not gross, but Josh Allen at least has like a 91 PFF grade.
That's cool, but Josh Allen also has had a lot better teams on his times in the playoffs, and Josh Allen didn't have to deal with injuries in the playoffs as well. You know, he was healthy the whole entire time.
Everyone likes to throw out stats without taking into the context, and that you're definitely right that the NFL media loves to do that a whole bunch. But I don't care about some clown Skip Bayless saying, "Is Brock Purdy better than Lamar Jackson? Should the Ravens move on?" Like, he's probably and rightfully should win MVP this year because of his performance in the regular season. I don't want the Chiefs to win for so many reasons.
I know you don't.
And I ain't worried. Not worried about that.
Looking at the Ravens, I think this might have been the Ravens' best chance of winning the Super Bowl.
Me too. I don't
just due to the fact that, you know, with Ben Johnson going back to the Lions today, you guys probably are going to lose your defense coordinator and Mike McDonald to a head coaching job.
Most likely.
2 more to fill.
Yeah. I mean, not only that, you guys have Geno Stone as a free agent. You got, you know, Odell Beckham. You got Patrick Queen. You got, I mean, the list goes on. You've got a lot of guys that are.
Dude, we got like 20 people leaving.
Yeah. And not only that, there's a lot of guys that that are making so much money on that team next year that you won't be able to sign back a lot of those guys unless Marlon Humphrey restructures. You know, there's a lot of guys that will have to restructure. All-time great QB.
This is definitely a take. Sir, Wes Welker and Demaryius Thomas were not lesser weapons, bro. What the hell?
Emmanuel Sanders, too.
Yeah, that Broncos offense, bro, from 2013 had insane receiver core. The only weakness was that their running back was, what was his name? Sean Moreno something.
Also, this is one of the worst stupid. Also,
Wait.
hey, wow, deep cut from Sean Marino. But can we not talk about two QBs playing each other as if there's not a defense? Y'all see Cam Chancellor in that fucking Super Bowl?
Bam Bam Cam.
Yeah, let's talk about Bam Bam a little bit. Like, it's not like
think though. I think Seattle had a lot more talent on that team. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like Doug Baldwin, Percy Harvin.
Ooh,
yeah, he was there.
Marshawn,
Beast.
like
Russell Wilson, there. Second year Russell Wilson. Dude, that Seahawks team is like an all-time. I still believe that Legion of Boom era Seahawks team is probably the best defense in the modern era of the NFL. Like they're the only well, in like the 21st century. I mean, shout out 02 Bucks, shout out 2000 Ravens, shout out the Steelers defenses they had during their Super Bowl runs, but that Legion of Boom defense was the number one defense in the NFL for 4 straight years in terms of points allowed. No other team in the Super Bowl era has ever done that.
Yeah, best scoring defense. That says something.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie to you.
So listen, we'll do like full on Super Bowl.
But he's right though. Doug Baldwin, Golden Tate,
yeah,
Zach Miller.
We'll do full on Super Bowl predictions next week, the week of the game. But I'll say this much so far.
Yeah, I gotta scout it.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of takes, and I'm not letting these get to me like they used to. By the way, just so everyone's clear, the only reason I was pissed off about after the AFC Championship game was I let the idiots on the internet get to me, and I took it out on people. So I apologize for that. No, that was not a good look for me, and I apologize.
I'm not going to forgive you. It was unbearable. Okay. I'm not even going to forgive you.
I know. I should have waited at least a week until the pain was over.
Wait till the Super Bowl.
It's okay. You know what? I feel like I behaved myself because part of me really wanted to go on here and quote that line from Earl Sweatshirt and from Loiter Squad. Smell like bitch in here. But no, we made some good points tonight, so we're gonna be chill. Listen, I'll say this much. I've seen a couple of takes saying that this is the worst Super Bowl matchup of all time. I implore those people to please learn your NFL history and go check out that time the Chargers fucked around and found out in the Super Bowl. That's all you need to know. Worst Super Bowl matchup of all time. Remind me, who did the 85 Bears play? I'll just put that in there.
A Patriots team that didn't belong there and that found out in the first 10 plays that they didn't belong there.
There have been worse. In terms of unlikability,
how did they score?
You might have a point. I think I don't think this is the most. I think this is probably the most unliked Super Bowl matchup since. Actually, no, it's not even the most unliked Super Bowl matchup of the last 10 years. Everyone remembers where they were when we found out it was going to be Patriots Rams in 2018. Ugh.
That game was actually. You know what's so funny about that game? I'm happy you brought that up. That was a very interesting game because that Super Bowl, everybody was looking for me. Everybody. You know where I was? I was sleeping in my bed. When I woke up, it was still 3-3 because I was supposed to back during that time. You know, I was still living in my parents' house and stuff like that. It was the hangout spot. Everybody always came there, so everybody was looking for me that night because everybody was gonna come hang out with me at my house and stuff. Super Bowl is on. I wake up in the fourth quarter. It's still 3-3. When I woke up, I said, damn, I didn't even miss anything in this game. So that definitely was the most boring Super Bowl that we have seen in a long time.
Yeah, I think the last 10 years have given us some really good Super Bowls, but also have given us some big-ass clunkers. One nearly needs to bring up 43-8, 13-3. In terms of most disliked matchup in the Super Bowl, well, America, you guys spent all week talking about how you didn't want it to be Chiefs-Niners. You should have known better. That's all I'm going to say on that. You should have known better than to say, oh, anybody but the Chiefs and the Niners. What did you think was going to happen? You tempted the football gods, and they've gifted you a matchup you didn't want. And now you'll be forced to watch it. I'm kidding, of course. You don't have to watch it.
We could have had Ravens and Lions in the fucking Super Bowl. I mean...
Well, alternate Super Bowl. Hey, the alternate universe. My alternate Super Bowl theory against Ravens, Lions.
What's the point in watching, deadass?
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to watch. That's the great thing about it.
Down, man.
I'm gonna watch because it's my
so much. Both teams let me down, man. Isaac, you're free to watch. No one's saying.
Oh no, yeah, I'm gonna watch. I will be toned down a little bit because I don't want to.
Go for it. Go for it. Go
Hey,
off,
listen,
man. You deserve to be happy.
last
Go
year's
be
Super Bowl
happy.
party, I kind of
Someone
scared
gets
some.
to.
Last year's Super Bowl party, I kind of scared some of my friends when the Chiefs were down by 10, and I kind of yelled. But to be fair, I did not want to lose to Kylie's Eagles. If the Niners beat us, I will be disappointed, but it will be understandable.
I just don't know how the Niners.
We're kind of petty bitches, and we kind of deserve it. But I will be rooting for my boys. We'll get into more of this next week.
What he said? I missed what he said.
I don't know how the Niners beat him. Pat Mahomes is just a magician, man. That dude is he's a magician.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Maybe the double Debos are like too much for the Chiefs.
Like,
defense, maybe
I took Brady's career for granted. I will not do that with Patrick Mahomes. As much as I hate the Chiefs, I will not take Patrick Mahomes for granted at all.
No, never. No one should. Oh my goodness.
No. You take
he's crazy good.
I took them for granted on Sunday, and I was pleasantly and also disturbingly surprised at what ended up happening. But anyway, we will get into this, of course, when we go to our Super Bowl predictions next week.
Him and Travis Kelce are some bitch asses for doing that to Justin Tucker, though. Justin Tucker doesn't do anything to anyone.
Justin Tucker should have. Okay, now I will defend them for this. Justin Tucker should have set his. Justin Tucker kickers are supposed to set up their stuff on their side of the field, and Justin Tucker set up his stuff on the Chiefs side of the field and would not leave when they asked him to.
Hold on. Yep. Supposedly that is a kicker thing in the NFL. The kickers always go to the opposite place of where their team is warming up at. So that means that Harrison Butker was on the other side as well, where the Ravens were warming up at. Nobody gave Harrison Butker any shit.
Now, correct. I asked this.
Tucker has been doing the same thing for 30 the last
years.
12 years or so. Tucker's done the same exact thing. It's never been an issue until now. And did you see the way he did it? Rude as hell, bro. Rude as hell.
Okay. Maybe it was rude. Why was bro kicking for the 1 yard line?
He was stretching.
He does it every time. I went to the Ravens game. He starts there and goes back increments. He goes back 5 yards each time.
All right.
I've literally seen him do it. I've seen him do it. But you know what's crazy? You can throw anywhere on the field, but he cannot kick from anywhere on the field. He has to do his little warm-ups the same way. Just go take 5 steps to the side. He's not taking up that much space. But no,
Pat Mahomes is perfectly
respectful. I'm trying to be respectful.
They would have deserved it.
Trying to be respectful.
Say what you're gonna say. Go on. Say what you're gonna say.
I can't because Justin Tucker makes his kicks. I can't use that line.
Oh yeah, good point.
Yeah, you can't go after Justin Tucker because the dude is actually legit nice. Like completely honestly,
kick the ball. Yeah,
like
he's really cool.
Like to be completely honest, that was like a bitch ass move by Patrick and Travis. I'm like, dude, listen. I'm not ashamed to admit that the Chiefs are kind of whiny bitches this year. You know, we are. We're playing the role of the villain really well, and I don't think I like it. But I'm gonna support my boys because I know my grandpa's gonna be watching this Super Bowl wherever he is, and I won't be supporting him.
Limited. Yep.
Okay, before we go, Noam, just so we're clear, I'm allowed to like 2 separate NFL teams, right?
I know. You are. There's no one saying you're not. I'm just saying it is hard to take you seriously a little bit. When
and that is
divisional round. We're talking about we, and then we're talking about we another round once that divisional round team is eliminated, and now we're in the conference championship, and now we're using the same terminology for another team. You are not a fake fan, nor are you a bandwagon fan, and I'm saying that because I know you. And I know you're not, and I know why you like the Chiefs, and you are allowed to. I'm just saying it's a little hard. That's why I couldn't like trash talk with you Sunday. It's in my head. It's like,
hey, listen,
it's a little hard.
It is
legendary corny.
It is fair. It is extremely corny. I know somebody who's never met me. It's like, wait, so you like both the Chiefs and the Bucks? 2 teams are very successful right now. It's like, yes,
and the Yankees.
And I've fallen into I have the biggest victimhood complex right now. All of my teams are relatively successful. The Lightning are perennial Stanley Cup contenders. The Heat have never really been all that bad. The Heatles are always doing their thing, and I'm a Yankees fan. God damn it! And the sad thing is, I have legit reasons for liking these teams. I have family ties to most of these locations. There is a reason I'm a fan of these teams. One of the people who follows Kylie on Twitter, Kylie likes to set her Twitter followers on me on random days sometimes, just when she's bored. One of the people checked out which teams I was a fan of in my bio and was like, psh, figures. Psh. I can't help it, bro. I'm sorry. I'm a Florida boy who has family from New York and Kansas City. It's just how it is. It's hard to explain, but hey, listen.
I'm gonna keep clowning you for it though.
You are you can clown me as much as you want.
Every time I'm trying to take one of you guys seriously of what you're saying, I look over at the comments.
Yeah, well, before we sign up for tonight's episode, the comment section has been incredible tonight. Thank you
No,
guys.
it hasn't. It's been horrible.
No, they're going after you, bro. I don't know why.
Everyone hates me. I don't.
Mr. Rizzler.
The Rizzler. All right, well, Noam, you have to change your name to that now. You are the Rizzler.
Riz man, no.
Why is he... Bro, 40, I swear if you get on this too, I'll be so mad.
Nah, bro, he's 40, you're Rizzman. No, now we just need a nickname for, I don't know, Bandwagon, the Rizzler, and 40. That's our nicknames.
That is hilarious.
Well, with that being said, guys, I think this is the perfect time to stop what has been a fantastic episode of Beer Battered Sports.
Please.
Once again, thank you guys so much for all the support for 100 episodes of this show. Again, we could not do this without Fired Up Sports Network. You guys have been fantastic to us. Thank you so much for the creative freedom you give us. Thank you so much for the, I would say, Fired Up Sports and Mike, you guys, Fired Up Sports has like a hands-off approach with us. Mike basically just gives us the login for like StreamYard to set up our streams. It's like, go crazy, do what you want. Just, don't say anything too stupid. It's like, yes, sir. It's awesome. We love you for that.
And then
Mike.
we're like,
no, seriously.
Yeah, and then we test it by actually saying really stupid stuff.
We appreciate you, Mike.
Yeah,
Thank
you. Shout out as always to Kylie. It was her idea who got this podcast started in the first place. One day at work, when she just straight up hit me up and was like, "You want to do a sports podcast?" Shout out to the guys from Sports Facts who kind of laid the groundwork for this with their original one. Yeah, I think I remember listening to those first couple episodes of Sports Facts, being like, "This could be something."
It was horrible.
And now technically, it kind of is.
It was horrible.
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind streaming the first half of the Super Bowl or something.
Well, maybe.
Boy, what are you doing for the Super Bowl?
You guys definitely can. You guys definitely can.
I don't know. I don't know what I'll be doing for the Super Bowl now because the Ravens ruined my plans.
Me too. Me as well.
If you guys want to do a Super Bowl watch party while I'm away celebrating the Chiefs and trying desperately not to say something offensive and get kicked out of a friend's house, like, listen, look, the Niners have got some players on the team that I will say horrible things about their families. Like the Niners, listen, if you want somebody to root for, the Niners have some very questionable players on their defense. I'm just going to point out, I'm not going to go into specifics, but there's a couple defensive players on the Niners who are actually like terrible people in real life. So just keep that in mind. But anyway,
never have they ever messed with Justin Tucker in pregame warmups. So
they have not.
I'm shifting for a second. For all my sports bettors out there, though, for the Super Bowl, even if we don't stream, what I'll do is I will tweet all of my bets from the BBS Sports Podcast Twitter so that you guys can all follow along on the Super Bowl Sunday.
Kylie, that's not going to happen, right? Kylie, that's not going to happen. Listen, all I'm going to say, we'll get more into this next week with our big Super Bowl preview. But anyway, as always, this episode of Beer Battered Sports is brought to you by the Fired Up Sports Network, of which we are a proud affiliate of. Go check out all of their podcasts, including our friends over at Bill Smashers. Go Phils. You can follow us on all of our socials at @BBSports_pod, and check out our Twitter bio for merch where you can get one of these comfy BBS hoodies. Pretty good price too. You'll be supporting the podcast with your purchase. All I'm saying is it is a great look, and if you want to, surprise your friends at a Super Bowl party, go ahead and get one of these. They are super comfortable. We will see you guys next week for episode 101, where we preview the upcoming Super Bowl and maybe have the big spinny wheel for Noam to determine his MLB team. But in the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching.
The wheel of copium.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you next week. Thank you for 100 episodes. Here is to 100 more, baby. We'll see you guys next week.